Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana Hobby Guy, coming to you today with the flu that I've been down for a week with. But I didn't want to go 2 weeks without a video, so I wanted to put together something this week, an hour at a time, I guess, and put together a video package that a lot of people have been actually asking or inquiring about or wanting more information about, I guess you could say. And that is the camera setup. How to set up a camera, what's a good camera to use. Well, I'm going to tell you that Comgrow just came out with a new camera. It's got a beautiful mount system that mounts onto almost any laser engraver. So it doesn't matter whether you have 2020, 2040 extruded frame, whether you have C-channel, whether it's an X tool. They have adapters for the C-channel. This camera will adapt to anything, as well as a mount that fits on a wasteboard. So it can adapt to just about anything. Also, we're going to take a look at their honeycomb bed, their oversized honeycomb bed. And we're going to take a look at the enclosure that houses all of this. So it's tall enough so that you can fit your laser, the camera at the proper height, as well as any other little accessories that you might have. And to top that all off, this is going to be the November raffle giveaway. It's going to be the camera, the honeycomb bed with the tray, and the big huge enclosure that you're about to see. So now I'm a little foggy, so bear with me today, but let's go ahead and let's get started with the assembly videos, and then take a look at setting up this camera and everything that's involved. Let's go. Alright, so as much as I hate doing assembly videos, or actually I should say I hate assembly period, I'm just going to do these in quick time here. On the top left, I am assembling the enclosure, and on the bottom right, I'm doing the camera assembly. And the only little, I guess, problems that I ran into along the way in the directions for the enclosure, it showed two parts being put together that were different sizes in the picture. That sort of baffled me in these directions over here, because there were no, there were only two different size rails, the X and the Y, I guess you can call it, and the Z, three different, but they were the same size. But anyway, the directions were a little hard to read as far as that was concerned, but if you don't read the directions, you could probably figure this out on your own. And it went together really, really simply, not a problem at all. I guess if you have a 4-year-old laying around, you might want to recruit them, because my grandson was a great help doing this, especially when it came down to the screws and the nuts for the exhaust port. So that was, it was kind of fun having him help me with this. I'm out of room in the shop because we're reorganizing everything, so that's why I had to do this in the back room. But it all went pretty simply. It took me right around the same amount of time to do both, right around 35 minutes apiece, which I guess maybe it's because I'm not feeling well. Couldn't really figure it out that easily. But, I think at any other time it probably would have taken me maybe 15 minutes for each one. The camera assembly on the bottom right, the parts are really superb. When you receive this in the mail and open this up, you're going to say, wow, they did a really nice job. Those aluminum pipes are like an inch thick. They're perfectly machined. Everything fit together absolutely perfectly. I didn't have a single problem. When you put on that plate that I just put on there, put the nuts and the screws on first, and then just slip it right straight in. But yeah, it went very, very smooth. The only criticism that I would have about the camera is that they put it on sideways. So if they would have flipped the camera around the other way, not a big deal, because you're just seeing it sideways in Lightburn. That's all. I would have preferred if they turned the camera and let it stick out on either side. It wouldn't have looked as good, but functional wise, I think it would have been better, and that's the way that I would have designed it. But you get all the little tie wraps with it, and the little stick-on lock sets for the wiring. So yeah, really, really nice job on this camera setup and the enclosure. I was very happy with it. All right, so now that we've got this beast all assembled here, I did move the light to the left side. It's very simple. It took me about 2 minutes. The cord is coming down out through that hole right there, and it comes around over on this side, out and to the wall outlet. And here's the little on-off switch. So let me show you the difference when I press the button. It's really a huge difference, and I don't know how much you can see in that video, but I guess because of the reflection it's hard to see. But let me tell you, this is bright inside of here. So it's a good LED light, lights it up real nice, and it should work well with this camera. So let's skip over to the next one, which is the actual honeycomb bed. Okay, so this is the aluminum tray for the metal honeycomb bed. And I'm going to show you a little trick today. I'm going to take my hot glue gun. If you've never seen this glue gun before, this is the best glue gun I've ever owned. I'm going to turn this on and give it a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these feet, because the honeycomb sits flat on here, so there's no airflow. So I'm just going to hot glue these feet into each of the corners, and then we have a riser for the honeycomb to sit on. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and put some on here. The thing I love about this particular hot glue gun is that it's ready in like 15 seconds. So you're ready to go. You're ready to work. It's very quick, very easy. And I just love being able to get right to work. My old hot glue gun used to take, I don't know, maybe a minute or so. How long does yours take to heat up? They all take some time to heat up. Let me go around that side. And this one is broken, so I have to be careful with this one as I set it in, because it did break when I took it out of the package. And these don't have to be perfectly aligned either. And you can see by this over here that I am sweating. I'm still suffering from the flu, and it's, I don't know, 89 degrees today. And I'm outside because I'm out of space in the shop. We are doing an expansion, so everything has been moved into the wrong places while we expand the shop in there. And we're going to be doing a concrete pour and expanding the building, as well as remodeling the inside of the wood shop. So everything's a mess in there. So that's why I'm out here today in the Florida room. Okay, so now we've got this. It's all set. Those are our four standoffs. Let me get the honeycomb bed so I can show it to you. And I got to tell you, this is a nice bed. It's a very nice bed. Super big. So this is the way that it's going to stand off right here. And as you can see down here, I've got a gap big enough to put my finger through. See it on the bottom? And that is going to ensure us that we're not going to have any fumes gather up underneath and cause little mini explosions to throw our workpiece off. One thing that you'll notice about this is that it is metal. So magnets work on it, and these are some of the best magnets you'll find anywhere. I'll put a link down below. I put links to everything I talk about to make it easy for some of you that want to pick up the same type of setup. I'll put it in the show more section. They've redesigned it down below the video, so I don't know why they do things like that, but on this you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 supports going this way. And over here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So all in all, there's 10 supports in here. And then there are 2 stabilizers here and here. You can see that right in the middle there. 2 stabilizers in there. So it's a nice build. It's a good honeycomb, one of the best that I've seen. It doesn't twist or flex or anything like that. And let's take a look at the size. It is the size of this. So we're looking at 23.5 inches. Should be the same in both directions, I would guess. 23.5. So it's 23.5 inches by 23.5 inches. What is that for you millimeter people? That will be 590. 590 by 590 it looks like. So we'll take and put this inside, and I want you to notice all of the extra space that we've got in here. So we've got a ton of extra space in here all the way around. So the inside of this now is going to be, let's see if I could do this. I could probably do this way, make it easier. The inside of this is going to be right at 27 inches. So you got 27 by, I would think 27, but let's just verify it just to make sure. No, 27 by 29 on the inside. So this is a 3D printer tent, and it is going to be slightly odd, I guess. So now at this point, we're ready to go. All I need to do is take and drop in this honeycomb bed. Which is easier said than done. It is quite heavy, surprisingly, as compared to some of the aluminum ones, but I guess that's to be expected. And now all I have to do is drop in the laser. Let me bring this forward. Bring it up to here, and now I can grab this laser. Now, one of the nice things, oh, and the camera's in the way. Okay. Let me see how I can do this. Maybe like this. And that'll work. I am working around this camera. If I wasn't, this would be much easier to do. So, one of the things that Comgrove has told me is they've designed this bed like this so that you can have 100% of the work area of the laser over the honeycomb. And apparently they had gotten some, I guess, complaints from customers on the last 400 by 400 honeycomb. And now they wanted to redesign it so that every area that the laser head can travel to will have honeycomb underneath it. Now me, I'm a absolute coordinates kind of person. I work on a work grid, a work bed, and I burn my grid onto that bed. So it's not my particular setup, not the way I would want to do it, but it's okay. It still works for most users, and I find that most users aren't burning their grids. Now, one thing that's important to note on this is that there's a whole bunch of stuff that comes in here. There are custom pieces in here for adapting that plate over there to a C channel. So this will adapt directly to an X-tool laser, for instance, that has the C-channel frame. Additionally, if you're going to put it on a wasteboard, you have a wasteboard holder right here. Screw this down to your wasteboard, that slips right into it. I mean, they thought of everything with this camera setup. This camera can be used with 99.9% of all diode lasers that are out there, and even some CO2 lasers. This can easily be modified for a CO2 laser. So that's just how perfect this all looks. Let me close this up so you can get an idea of just how bright it is in there. Now, I know it's kind of hard to tell in the daylight, but let me turn this off so you can see. You see how dark that is in there? With this door closed, it's pretty dark in there. Yesterday, my grandson told me, "Grandpa, it's really dark in here. Open the door." But when I turn on that light, it's like daylight inside there. This is, I think, a really good job. So let me finish the wiring here in the setup, and run the wires out, plug everything up, and we'll get to using it for the first time. Okay, so I've got everything about done now. I've got the light in the right spot. I've got the laser inside the enclosure, as you can see here on the honeycomb bed with the metal tray underneath. Coming around to the side, I'm using the Monport air filter, even though the only thing it's doing is sucking the smoke out. We're already outside, so that's good enough. I didn't connect another hose, so everything is ready to go. I've got my laptop ready over here. I've got the air pump. That's the Congro Air Assist right there on the side. This is the button for the light here, off and on. This is the switch for the air assist, and you might be able to hear it if I put it inside here. There we go. So camera set up, light set up, enclosure set up, got everything connected, and we're ready to get started. So I'm going to switch over to the laptop now, and it might get a little noisy because it's been raining off and on, and I am in the Florida room out back here, so you know, might get a little noisy if it starts raining. But I'm going to switch over to the other to the laptop now and get started. Alright, so we're done with the assembly of that. I really don't like doing assembly of anything. Let's click on the camera control. You see that it's already found it, USB camera, so we'll leave that one selected. We're going to come up here to the laser tools, and we're going to come to the first one, which is calibrate camera lens. So let's go ahead and do that, and we're going to choose USB camera, and then that is the one that we have chosen up here. We're going to come over here to the standard lens, and we're going to do a full calibration on this. So now when I hit next, it gives me the option right here to print this out. So I have to download this and print this out. And you may notice I put white paper down on here on the bed. I've taped down some white paper. It's because it sees this better. So I'm going to click here to download the circle pattern image. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Control and the letter P on my computer. The Epson is the printer that I want to use. I'm going to put this into landscape mode, like that, black and white, and I'm going to hit print. So now that's sent that to my printer, and you can hear it printing in the background. I'm going to go grab it, and we'll do a capture on it. And we do not have the honeycomb, so I'm going to uncheck that. Let me go grab it and put it in the middle. So what we have to do here is we have to follow these on-screen directions. Now you can see that this one is horizontal and mine is vertical. Well, that's because my camera orientation is different, as you can see here. So if I were to flip this camera up, it would be in the right orientation. So let's try a capture and see what happens. And that was pretty good, 0.41. Okay, so that one is good right there. So I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to click next. Now it's telling me to move it down to the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and move it down to the bottom. And I'm going to click capture. And that's a good score right there, 0.30. And I'm going to get good scores because I'm using this white background. So we're going to click next, and now it's telling me to move to the left side over there. And I'll click capture again, and I'm expecting a good score. Yep. So I will click next, and now it says move to the right side. And capture again. A really good score. I'll click next and move it to the top. And I'll click capture. Another good score. I'll click next again. It's asking for the bottom right again. All right, so we are finished. That's it, you're finished. That's great. So now the next thing, and you know, like I said earlier, I put down these white sheets of paper for a reason, because this calibration can drive you crazy, and you know, sometimes you can't get good scores at all. You'll get a good score every time if you have a white background like this. So tape some paper down to your workbed before you do this, so that you can get through it real quick. So now the next thing that we have to do is align the camera. All right, so let's come up to Laser Tools again, and we're going to do Camera Alignment second. So it goes in this order. This one first, the first one, this one second. So we'll click on that, and you have to choose your camera type. We have this camera right here. We have to select the camera, which is this one, the USB camera. And there you can see I've changed the white paper now. This is not going to engrave on white paper. Remember, this is a diode laser. So I've changed it to some chipboard. So I'm going to say next. And the material thickness is 0.2 millimeters. We're going to do the fill speed at 5,000. We're going to do the line speed at 5,000. And we're going to do the power and for both of them at 50%. And then I will click frame to make sure that it's on the chipboard. I know you can't see this because it bypasses the camera when it does this, but we're fine. It's all in alignment. It's ready to go. It's going to burn these images onto the chipboard so that we can pinpoint them. So let's go ahead and hit start, and I hope I got my guesses right for the speed and power. You know what? Maybe I will lower this to 4,000 just to. I want to get a good image. I hope that's not going to be too much. And we're going to leave the scale at 100% here. Okay, here we go. Going to click start, and you won't be able to see this. And the laser has started. Alright, it's finished that process. I took a good guess there. It came out perfect. So I'm going to hit next. And now we're going to jog the laser out of the way so we can get a better view in here. And we're going to capture the image. And there is the image right there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pinpoint all of these marks. So let's click continue, say next, and we need to pan and zoom to find the 4 corner marks. The instructions are all pretty clear here. If you look at the bottom of the screen, it says click on marker number 1. So let's zoom in all the way in as far as this can go, and it's not click, it's double click actually, and we want to find the exact center of this mark right there. So we'll double click, and maybe I'll move it just a little bit over. Yeah, I think that looks good right there. Maybe just a hair lower. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that right there. And we're going to follow the instructions here. Now it's telling me click marker number 2. So I'm going to zoom way in here like that. Try and get my mouse right in the middle. And there we go. That's good. That's number 2. Now we're going to move over. I'm rolling my mouse wheel, and to drag the screen, I'm pressing down on the center button. And I'm going to click right there. And now we're going to go to marker number 4. And we're going to click right there. And I think that all looks pretty good just the way it is. So we'll click next, and that's it. We're done. So let's click finish. Come to the camera, and now you can see. Let me pull the camera out. And now you can see the actual chipboard that I put down here and where the laser is. So let's check the accuracy on this. Alright, I just ran my first test off camera. Actually, I forgot to hit record. What I did was I put a circle around the circles that were already there on number 1 and number 3, and you can see it came out perfect. But I'm going to do this, let me update the overlay. I'm going to do this just for you so that you can see it for yourself. So I'm going to take and draw a circle here, and I'll grab that. Put it right over the outside of the circle that we've got there. That looks good like that. I'll duplicate that. And what I'll do is come down to number 4. Zoom in on number 4. Get this light right in the right spot like that. There we go. So now I've got it on number 2 and number 4. And let me bring the camera back out again. We don't need the overlay anymore. So I'll make this larger. Come to the laser, and we'll hit start. And you're going to see that it does a pretty good job in every direction. So let's go ahead and update the overlay one more time so that we now see what is oops, that shouldn't have gone in there. So that we now see what's on the screen, and we can zoom way in here. Grab this one. That's pretty darn accurate. Take a look. See where it is? It's just a little bit off, but that's pretty close. So I'm going to delete that one. And look at how close this one is. That's also very close. We're talking about, you know, it's probably out a millimeter, if that a millimeter. So let's take a look in real life what this means to you. Let's go ahead and turn that off for 1 second. And now, by the magic of YouTube, I've got a piece of wood on there. So let me update the overlay. And I just dropped this on. You can put it on any way that you want. Let me actually home the laser just so that we can get it out of the way. And we can update the overlay one more time. Now we have something to work with here. And we could show you now how this is going to work. So let's just grab anything here. Let's fade that out for a minute. Put this on the black layer. Let's go ahead and ungroup them and then regroup them individually. Like that. So now you can take and get the most out of the wood that you've got. So there's one. We'll go ahead and duplicate that. Let's bring another one down over here, just so that you can see how beneficial this is when you have scrap pieces of wood lying around. And let's put a third one over there, and let's just put one more down here on the bottom like that. And you can see how strategically positioned those are. So we're going to come to the cuts and layers. We have 4050. Let's just change that to 4070 like that. And now we are ready to run this job. I can come to the camera. I don't need to show this anymore. Let me bring out the camera here so you can see it actually happen. And I'll come to the laser tab and hit start. And here we go. We're going to maximize our work area here. Or I should say maximize our piece of wood. Now most people are just going to throw this in the scrap bin. You know, why do that when with the camera, a small investment of a camera, look at how perfect that came out. Take a look at that. All exactly where we positioned them. Let's go ahead and update the overlay again and move this out of the way. And let's take a look, see what we got. These are pretty darn close. Look how close to the actual graphic they are. If I pull this off, you can see it better. See that? Let me undo that, and let me show you that's not even a millimeter. So let's take the ruler. Let's come up here and measure, and about a half a millimeter it looks like. I'll zoom all the way in so I can get a better measurement. And right about there, half a millimeter, 0.52 millimeters. So that's all we are, half a millimeter off. That is nothing. You'll be able to use up all of your scrap pieces of wood, and you can see it's pretty consistent all the way across. We're all the way down here by 20, 40, 50, 50 and 240 on the grid, and up here we're at 60, 70, and looks like about 90 on the grid. So yeah, came out really good. There's our four graphics. That's what they look like on the piece of wood. This is why you need a camera. You could literally fill up this whole thing with different graphics and nest them in together, cut all of them out, and have a whole bunch of earrings that you got out of a scrap piece of wood. Yeah, I know. Another long video. But you know, the thing is that I want to try and cover all of the steps involved in this. So not only, you know, just getting, I can't just say, buy this $99 camera, you know, and set it up and just leave it at that. I mean, I could probably do that. Yeah, buy this $99 camera and set it up. But I like to make sure that the people watching my videos see me do this and go through the process step by step by step, and just eliminate all of the questions that you know, so many people have along the way when they buy a new accessory, when they buy a new laser, whatever, you know, whatever it might be. So that's, you know, that's the reason why I take the time to do these videos. I know a lot of people out there are not going to figure out the Lightburn setup. So how do I know that? Because I get people that schedule remote sessions with me to help them set it up. I have people asking about it on my forums. I've got, you know, people that send me emails and private messages and all kinds of stuff. So I can't tell you how many I get where people say, I just can't get this camera to get set up. And it's not as hard as you think it is, as long as you follow the process and any little tips and tricks that, you know, I may have found along the way. And look, I'm no expert at any of this, but I'm just trying to share with you what my experience in doing this was. So don't forget that this package, the camera, the honeycomb bed, and this huge enclosure, which I love, is the November raffle package. So one of you people out there is going to get this in the mail for free, all three of those items. Now, as far as pros and cons, I really didn't. The pros are everything's in the pros list on this, except for one thing. The only thing that I think could have probably been improved was on the enclosure. It has a clear window. You know, this is a 3D printer enclosure, is what it is, with a slight modification, maybe not even a modification. It's a 3D printer enclosure, but has all kinds of nice access on it, and you know, you've got the big vent in the back where you can use any type of fume extractor. But I would have liked to have seen them replace that clear plastic that they have in the front window with, you know, I guess with the orange plastic. I don't know. None of it's really rated to protect your eyes. So make sure you always wear your glasses when you're doing this, and it's not really a problem. But that's really the only con. Now the large honeycomb bed, I'm not really I'm not really so sure why they made that. Comgrow is saying that people wanted to have access to the full 400 by 400 millimeters of the work bed for cutting. So they've made this much larger honeycomb bed so that you can put your entire laser on top of it and be able to cut every millimeter of the area that you're able to, that whole 400 by 400. Okay, I guess that's sort of a good idea. But, you know, you're not really working in absolute coordinates then because, well, you don't have a grid to work off of. It's going to be pretty hard to figure out where the, I guess if you, yeah, I guess you could. As long as you put your project starting at the 00 and, you know, bring it out 400, I guess you're okay. So, yeah, I guess that can work. I still don't quite get it. I don't know anyone that uses the entire 400 by 400 when they're cutting anyway. Most projects are in the 8 by 12 inch range. So, but I guess it's good to have. The good thing about this honeycomb bed is that it's all steel, so you can use magnets. That's the great thing. And it has more reinforcement rods, as well as a couple of vertical reinforcements in there that I've never even seen in another CO2 honeycomb. So very well made. Don't forget to stand it off. Use either those plastic protector legs, or you can just cut a couple of pieces of wood. You only need maybe 6 or 8 millimeters if you've got smoke extraction to create a breeze underneath it. That's about it. That's all I have to say about it. I'm not going to spend too much more time because I'm ready to go hit the bed again. But I've sort of like pieced this together, you know, an hour here, an hour there all week. I'd come out and do one thing, you know, assemble the enclosure, or I'd come out and assemble the camera. And I tried to do it bit by bit, and maybe it didn't fit and work so well as smooth as I'd want it to. But it's the best I can do with the flu. So I hope you all enjoyed this video today. As much as I did enjoy making it. It got me out of bed, got me out of the house, and little bit at a time, and got me doing things. So as always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.